My name is Lauren Pierce, and I am 42 years old. I am recording this because I cannot sleep, and because if I do not say it out loud, I will start believing the version of events they tried to sell me. I was passed over for a promotion I earned, and it was handed to the coworker who smiled at me every morning while quietly stabbing me in the back. I did not handle it like a saint. I handled it like a tired woman who finally stopped protecting people who would never protect her. The story starts in the most boring place in the world, a beige office with stale coffee and motivational posters that say things like teamwork and integrity. I worked at a healthcare software company in Chicago, in the operations department, for 9 years. Not glamorous, not creative, but it paid the mortgage and it paid for the kind of stability that I thought mattered more than excitement. My job was to keep the machinery running. Contracts, vendor relationships, compliance checklists, timelines, training schedules. The work everyone pretends is simple until it breaks, and then suddenly it is an emergency and everyone is looking for the person who knows how to fix it. That person was me. My manager, Brian Caldwell, used to call me his closer. He would hand me messy problems and say, "Lauren, make it go away." I would make it go away. I would stay late. I would take calls during dinner. I would rewrite reports at midnight because the executive team wanted the same information presented in a different tone. And then, 2 years ago, we got a new hire. A woman named Chloe Bennett. Early 30s. Loud laugh. Bright nails. Always carrying a pastel water bottle like it was part of her personality. She came in as a project coordinator under me. She acted grateful at first. "I am so happy to be on your team," she said. "I have heard you are the one who actually keeps this place from falling apart." It sounded like a compliment. It was also reconnaissance. The first few months, I trained her. I shared my templates. I showed her how the compliance audits worked, how to keep our vendors from charging hidden fees, how to speak to our legal team so they actually answered emails before a deadline. Chloe took notes. She asked questions. She said all the right things. And slowly, I started to notice how she used what I gave her. She would ask me to send her an outline, then she would paste it into a presentation and present it as if she built it. She would sit in meetings and nod, then send a follow-up email summarizing the discussion using my exact phrasing, with her name at the bottom, like she was the one steering the ship. At first, I told myself I was being petty. That mentoring was part of leadership. That a confident woman does not keep score. But there is a difference between mentoring and being mined. When I brought it up gently, she smiled like I was adorable. "Oh my gosh, Lauren," she said. "We're a team. This is not high school. No one cares who said what." I cared. Not because I needed applause. Because I needed protection. Because I knew how quickly credit becomes currency in corporate life. I was right. The promotion was supposed to be mine. Senior operations manager. Bigger salary. Better bonus. More authority. Brian had told me months earlier that I was the obvious choice. "You are the strongest person on this floor," he said. "I just need HR to rubber stamp it." I believed him. I should not have. The week before the decision, the company had a crisis. A vendor we used for secure data storage sent a notice. A subcontractor had been compromised. No confirmed patient data leak, but the possibility was enough to trigger panic. Compliance, legal, PR, everyone was scrambling. Brian came to my desk like a man on fire. "Lauren, I need you," he said. "I need you to draft the internal incident response plan and the external vendor remediation steps. I have to brief the executive team by tomorrow morning." I said yes, of course. I always said yes. I built the plan in 6 hours. I called our legal counsel. I called the vendor. I cross-referenced our contracts. I drafted a clean timeline and an action list that made the situation look controlled without lying. It was the kind of work that saves reputations. At 10:30 that night, Chloe was still online. I saw her green status dot in our chat system. She messaged me. "Need anything?" she wrote. I hesitated, then replied, "If you want to help, can you format the slide deck for Brian? I will send you the key points." She responded instantly. "Absolutely. Send it." I sent it. I should have known. The next morning, Brian called an emergency leadership meeting. I walked in with my notebook, tired but proud. Chloe was already there. She sat closer to Brian than usual, smiling too wide. Brian started the meeting. "I want to recognize Chloe Bennett," he said. Chloe stayed late and pulled together an excellent incident response framework for the vendor issue. The executive team was impressed. My stomach dropped. I looked at Chloe. She did not look at me. She looked at Brian like a daughter, watching her father praise her at a recital. I waited for Brian to add, "with Lauren's help," or building off Lauren's work. Anything. He did not. After the meeting, I pulled Brian aside in the hallway. "Brian," I said quietly, "I wrote that plan." He blinked. "What?" "I wrote it. I sent Chloe the content for the slides. She formatted it. That is all." His face tightened like he was annoyed that I had created paperwork for him. "Lauren," he said, "this is not the time. We are in crisis mode." Chloe helped. "You helped. Team effort." "It was not a team effort," I said. My voice shook. "It was my work." He leaned closer, lowering his voice. "Do not do this," he said. "Do not make this political." Political. That word. The way it was used like a muzzle. I walked back to my desk, hands cold, and I opened my sent emails. I pulled up the thread with Chloe. The timestamps. The attached document. My exact wording. I stared at it and thought, if I do not protect myself, no one will. 2 days later, HR sent a calendar invite, promotion decision meeting. 30 minutes. Brian, HR Director Melissa Grant, and me. I sat in that small conference room and watched the clock tick. Melissa smiled professionally. "Lauren," she said, "thank you for your contributions. The leadership team values your experience." My throat tightened. Brian cleared his throat. "We have decided to promote Chloe to Senior Operations Manager," he said. The words hit me like a slap. Not because I did not see the betrayal coming. Because I still could not believe they were bold enough to say it to my face. I nodded slowly. "Can you explain why?" Brian's jaw tightened. "Chloe demonstrates executive presence. She communicates upward effectively. She has shown leadership under pressure." Under pressure. My pressure. My work. I looked at Melissa. "Is this decision final?" Melissa nodded. "Yes." I felt something inside me go quiet. Not calm. Empty. Like a room after everyone leaves a party and you are standing among plastic cups and half-eaten cake, realizing you were never the guest of honor. You were the staff. I stood up. "Thank you," I said. Brian looked relieved, like he expected me to cry or beg, and my composure made him think he had won. I walked out and went to the bathroom. I locked myself in a stall and put my hand over my mouth so no one would hear me breathe like I was drowning. Then I did something I had never done before. I stopped being nice. I went back to my desk and opened my personal notebook, the one I kept hidden in my laptop bag. In it, I had been writing down every strange thing that happened for the last year. Not because I was paranoid. Because my marriage had taught me what gaslighting looks like, and once you have lived with it, you start keeping receipts. Yes, my marriage. I have not even told you that part yet. My husband, Ethan, was the kind of man who made everything sound like my fault. If he forgot an anniversary, it was because I did not remind him. If he drank too much at a party, it was because I stressed him out. If he flirted with waitresses, it was because I was cold. We were still technically together at the time this work drama happened, but the marriage was already dead in the way dead things sometimes still walk around. We had a house and a schedule and shared grocery lists. That was it. I had been making excuses for betrayal at home and at work because I did not want to be the woman who could not keep it together. But the body can only swallow so much poison. Back to Chloe. I started reviewing everything she touched. Not in a petty way. In a compliance way. Because healthcare software is not forgiving. If you lie, if you falsify, if you cut corners, someone eventually pays for it. And Chloe cut corners. I knew it. I had seen little hints. I checked the vendor incident response files again. I noticed a signature that did not match. A compliance attestation that had been approved at 11:47 at night, when the legal counsel was asleep and definitely not approving anything. I opened the audit trail. Chloe had used Brian's credentials to approve documents. or she had forged the sign-off. Either way, it was illegal. At minimum, it was a terminable compliance violation. I took screenshots. Then I opened the project management system and filtered by user actions. Chloe had been reassigning tasks to herself after I completed them, so the system history showed her as the owner at closure. A subtle trick. The kind of trick that looks invisible until you know where to look. I exported the logs. Then I checked email headers. The vendor had asked for a remediation timeline. Chloe had replied, and she had attached my draft plan, but she had deleted my name from the document properties. She had replaced it with hers. The metadata did not lie. I saved it all. I did not sleep that night. I sat at my kitchen table, laptop open, my hands shaking, and Ethan walked in around midnight. He stared at me. "What are you doing?" "I am working," I said. He scoffed. "Of course you are. Always working. That is why no one wants you around." I looked up at him, and something in me snapped clean. "You're right," I said quietly. "No one wants me around when I notice the truth." He frowned. "What is that supposed to mean?" "It means I am done," I said. He laughed like I was joking. "Done with what?" "With swallowing," I said. He rolled his eyes and went to bed. I stayed at the table and built my package. By 8 a.m., I had a folder. Screenshots, logs, email headers, metadata, and a timeline written in plain language. No emotion. Only facts. Then I faced the part one did not want to admit. Leaking proof can destroy careers. Not just theirs. Mine. I knew the risk. I also knew that if I went through HR, the evidence would disappear. Brian would protect Chloe because promoting her was now tied to his ego. Admitting she cheated would make him look incompetent. Men like Brian would rather burn the building than admit they chose the wrong person. So I went above them. I emailed the Chief Compliance Officer, Angela Reed, directly, with the subject line, "Urgent, audit trail irregularities and credential misuse." I attached the folder. And then I sat there, staring at the sent message, feeling nauseous and calm at the same time. Because that is what revenge looks like when you are not doing it for drama. It looks like an email. My phone rang 15 minutes later. "Angela." "Lauren," she said, her voice tight, "are you at your desk?" "Yes." "Do not discuss this with anyone," she said. "Do not forward anything else. Do not delete anything. I am coming down with IT and legal." I swallowed. "Okay." I hung up and realized my hands were sweating. Chloe walked past my desk 10 minutes later, holding a latte, wearing a new blazer like she had already moved into the promotion. She leaned in with a bright smile. "Big day," she said. "Yes," I said. She winked. "Try to be happy for me." I looked at her and thought, you have no idea what is coming. At 11, Angela arrived with 2 people in suits and an IT analyst pushing a cart with a device that looked like it belonged in a crime scene unit. They went straight into Brian's office and shut the door. The floor went quiet. People pretended to work, but everyone was listening. At 11:30, I got a message from Melissa in HR, "Please come to conference room B." When I walked in, Chloe was already there. Brian was there. Melissa was there. And Angela was there. Chloe's smile looked stuck on her face like dried glue. Angela spoke first. "We have identified serious compliance issues," she said, "including credential misuse and falsified attestations." Brian's face was gray. He stared at the table. Chloe blinked fast. "I do not know what you mean," she said. Angela slid a paper across the table. "This is the audit trail. This shows approvals from Brian's credentials at times he was not logged in." Brian's mouth opened, then closed. Chloe looked at him, panicked. "Brian, tell them." Angela held up a hand. "Do not coach him." Chloe's eyes darted to me. For the first time, she looked at me directly. Her voice turned sharp. "Did you do this?" I did not answer. Angela continued. "We also reviewed document metadata and task reassignment patterns. This suggests a deliberate effort to misattribute work ownership." Chloe's face crumpled for a second, then hardened into anger. "This is a witch hunt," she said. "Lauren is jealous. She is bitter because she did not get the promotion." Melissa cleared her throat. "Chloe, please." Brian finally spoke, voice hoarse. Chloe, why did you use my credentials? Chloe stared at him like she could force him to protect her with her eyes. I did not, she said. Angela nodded at the IT analyst. He opened his laptop and turned it toward them. There is a login from Chloe's workstation, he said. Using Brian's username. Captured by network logs. Chloe's lips parted. Her breath became shallow. Brian gave me the password. Brian jerked his head up. I did not. And there it was. The betrayal of the betrayer. They always turn on each other when the lights come on. Angela's voice was calm, almost bored. Chloe Bennett, she said, you are being placed on immediate administrative leave pending termination. Security will escort you to collect personal items. Chloe stood up so fast the chair scraped. This is insane, she snapped. You cannot do this. I just got promoted. Angela looked at Melissa. That promotion is rescinded. Chloe turned to Brian, eyes wild. Say something. Brian said nothing. Her gaze landed on me again. Tears pooled, but her voice was venom. You did this, she said. I finally spoke. My voice was quiet. No, I said. You did. Security arrived. Chloe grabbed her purse, her hands shaking. She walked out stiffly, head high, but I saw the tremor in her shoulders. When the door shut, the room stayed silent for a moment. Then Angela looked at me. Lauren, she said, thank you for bringing this forward. We will need a formal statement. I nodded. Brian's eyes were glassy. Lauren, I held up a hand. Do not. Melissa exhaled like she had been holding her breath for hours. We will also be reviewing management decisions leading to this, she said. I looked at Brian then. He looked small. Because that was the real karma. Not Chloe being escorted out. Not the promotion being revoked. It was Brian realizing he had backed the wrong person and the whole company was watching him eat it. When I left the conference room, my phone buzzed. It was Ethan. Where are you? He texted. We need to talk about dinner. Dinner. Like my life was still about feeding other people while my own hunger rotted. I stared at the text and felt tired. Not sad. Not angry. Just done. I typed back, I will be home later. Pack a bag. He called immediately. I did not answer. I walked back to my desk and sat down. People pretended not to look at me. But they were looking. I could feel it. My coworker Megan, the only woman on my team who ever spoke to me like a person, slid into my cubicle quietly. Was that you? She whispered. I exhaled. Yes. She nodded slowly. Good. I stared at my screen and realized I was shaking. Not from fear. From adrenaline, from months of swallowing my voice and suddenly using it like a weapon. That night, I went home and told Ethan to leave. He tried to laugh it off. You are emotional, he said. Is this about work? It is about everything, I said. He stepped closer, face annoyed. You cannot just kick me out. I can, I said. The mortgage is in my name. Your name is on nothing. His face changed then, the way Michael's face changed in my old story, the caught look. The calculation. You will regret this, he said. Maybe, I said. But I will regret staying more. He slammed the door. I did not chase him. The next morning, Angela emailed me. Formal acknowledgement. They opened an internal investigation into Brian's leadership decisions. 2 weeks later, Brian was demoted. Not fired, but stripped of authority. His reputation was the real sentence. People stopped trusting him. Chloe tried to fight it. She posted vague messages online about toxic workplaces. She tried to call me from a blocked number. She emailed me once from a personal account. I hope you feel powerful, she wrote. I did not reply. 3 months later, I got the promotion. Senior Operations Manager. Higher salary. Bigger bonus. My name on the work I actually did. I accepted it without celebration. Because the truth is, the promotion was not the point anymore. The point was that I stopped cooperating with the version of me that kept taking hits to keep the peace. The company did not become a fairy tale. It was still an office. Still politics. Still egos. But now, when someone smiled too wide and called me team player, I knew what that could mean. And at home, the silence became clean. Not the tense silence of a marriage where you are waiting for the next insult. The kind of silence that lets you hear yourself think. Sometimes I still feel guilty. Not for leaking the proof. For how long I waited to protect myself. If you are listening and you are in a place where you are being erased quietly, where your work is being stolen, where your instincts are being mocked, I am not going to tell you to be strong. I am not going to tell you to heal. I am going to tell you something simpler. Keep receipts. And when you finally decide to speak, do it with facts. Because facts do not beg. Facts do not apologize for existing. Facts do not care who the office likes more. Facts just sit there, heavy and undeniable, until the truth has to make room for them.